It's been a few weeks since the absolute surge in nationalism, both in Great Britain and in Ireland, both northern and southern, or if you're watching in the Republic and the north of Ireland. And this is making the blue-haired they-thems and the likes of Antifa absolutely spiral, and I think that's wonderful. And as much as I suspect the government would like this to go away, it's only growing. So the Labour Party have flip-flopped on the issue, and now they're all for it. There's Union flag bunting everywhere. Cooper, Starmer and the rest of the gang are fully behind it. And I don't know if they're just desperate, or if they honestly think the British public are this stupid. Personally, I'm absolutely loving it. Every time I see there's a new flag raised, it tells me there is another patriotic citizen who doesn't want to lose control of our country, who doesn't want it flooded with foreign invaders, who've come here many times to do terrible things to women and children and to live off our taxes. Also, I love that the subtext is telling Starmer to go and fuck himself. As for the woke lefties who say that this is divisive, look at this beautiful site in Birmingham where Operation Raise the Colours began. Each lamppost has the Union flag and either the English, Scottish, Welsh or Irish flag. The only one missing in my mind is the Red Hand of Ulster. This is uniting people in a way I've never seen in my lifetime. And again, the woke brigade is saying, oh, you're all flag shaggers, which is rich coming from people who fly the Palestinian flag, a country run by a fucking terrorist organisation, as well as 38 different pride flags, most of which they don't know the meaning of. But then these are people who need badges to tell them what pronouns to use. Let's kick off with the naysayers, starting with part of an interview from a few weeks ago featuring a professor of black studies. Of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I suspect if the same institution taught a course in white studies, within half an hour the university would be on fire.
Well, I think this is the problem. It's not that the far right have co-opted the flag. It's the fact that we don't seem to understand what this country is and the history of these symbols. So both of these flags which you've displayed here, those are the flags which flew on ships which enslaved my ancestors. Those are the flags which the British Army marched into places like India, Pakistan, Bengal, Africa, and colonized 25% of the world. The reason the far right picks up these flags and has consistently, since the 60s, 70s, since my parents' generation have been in this country, is because these flags represent the racism which they are putting out into the world. And I would just point out, this campaign of putting these flags up, this is not some benign, oh, let's just be patriotic. Go and search, Operation Raise the Colours, and you'll find the same far right, Little England, this nonsense spewing about all the migrant hotels, it's all this, that's what that's about. People aren't putting up this flag to celebrate Britain. They're putting up this flag to remind us that Britain is white and we shouldn't be here.
For a professor, he doesn't know much about history. He's using almost a caricature of the slave trade, in which white Europeans in safari suits were running around the African savannah with oversized butterfly nets attempting to catch the natives. The truth is that slavery had been going on in Africa for millennia before any white European set foot in the continent. His ancestors were not enslaved by the British. They were bought by the British, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, but they were enslaved by other Africans. And if he wasn't walking around with a massive chip on his shoulder, cherry-picking things to suit his own narrative, he would know that those flags behind me, they're the flags that ended the African slave trade. It was the Royal Navy who ended the transatlantic slave trade. The Dahomey tribe, the Africans, they wanted to keep it going, so the Royal Navy shelled the shit out of them. So, if we're talking about ancestors, on behalf of my ancestors to that gentleman, you're welcome. As for India and the British Empire, yes, terrible things were done by all empires, not just the British. But if we look at the world today, countries which were part of the colonies are doing much better than those that weren't. And if he's determined to cling to these flags being part of the far right, personally, I think he's just desperate to hang on to his victimhood. Grow up, mate. Next.
Sure, I would like to understand the reason behind it, of course. But if it's a message to the immigrant community, anything of that sort, then it's not that pleasant. Yeah.
She wanted to know what it's about, but hasn't bothered to look into it, thus assumes it must be anti-immigration. Now, at some levels it is. It's anti-illegal immigration. It's anti-people who come to this country and then demand we change to fit in with their values and standards rather than assimilating into British society. But on this one occasion, love, it's not all about you.
You know, the people that you see holding the English flag most of the time down my neck of the woods will be the EDL, and they are white and they are male and they're bad people and they want to divide our communities.
That's Shabina Mahmood, the new Home Secretary, the person responsible for our borders, who assumes that anyone waving one of these flags must be far right and then oddly mentions the EDL, the English Defence League. They disbanded over a decade ago. That's how fucking out of touch our politicians are.
I think it's time we have a conversation about how the rise of nationalism and patriotism in the UK is actually very scary and very dangerous. If you're not from the UK and you have not lived here, you will not understand how rampant racism is. People view the UK as this like gorgeous, multicultural, blended country, and it is, and I love it. But recent years, it has just been increasing and increasing and increasing. And in case you haven't noticed and you've been living under a rock, the past few weeks, specifically St. George flags, so the English flag and Union Jacks have been just springing up everywhere. I mean, absolutely everywhere. Noticed it on my own road like about 2 weeks ago, but it's in every neighbourhood in my area and several areas across London and the rest of the UK. Coming home just now from work, it's nearly 4 a.m. I have seen bunting put all up my street, and the fear I had in my body at seeing that was unreal.
Okay, I'm going to try to be kind here. I've often heard from certain people that the UK is terrible and divisive and racist. And if that's your experience, I really apologise on behalf of every decent Englishman. However, what I would say is try going to Eastern Europe. Go to Poland or Hungary. There you'll find out what real racism is. And this rise in nationalism is being entirely fuelled by the far left. By this country being flooded with foreign criminals that we didn't ask for and we don't want. It comes from having a left-wing socialist government who not only don't listen to the British people but openly don't care about us. And it's about the indigenous population who've always been so fucking welcoming, saying, please, can we hold on to our national identity? And of course I'm sorry to hear that she's frightened. However, what has actually happened to her? Has she been abused or attacked in the streets? Or is this something she's cooking up in her own head? And with that in mind, I have a question. But I'm not going to ask it because there's a TikToker called Based and Boogie who will do it way better than I do.
People that are saying, oh my gosh, they're waving the Union Jack. Oh my gosh, the English flag is everywhere. I'm so scared. White supremacy. Why are you here? Why are you still here? Why are you still living here, working here, and paying your tax here? That doesn't make no sense. Because if I was living in a country and I felt like there was this racist boogeyman chasing me and oh my gosh, it's such a threat to my life, I would have been left. But the fact that you guys haven't left, and not only that, people of non-white countries are coming in the millions, goes to show that this racist boogeyman that you guys are talking about clearly doesn't exist. Like, I couldn't imagine going to Dubai. I couldn't imagine going to China and then telling people, you need to take down the Chinese flag. You need to take down the Dubai flag because this is offensive to me because I'm African. What? Do you guys hear yourselves? And I'm not being funny, but I'm going to say it. But this is why people are getting tired of mass migration and multiculturalism, because it's so clear you guys have a hatred for English culture. You have a hatred because it's almost like, okay, we can raise our Palestinian flags, we can raise our LGBTQ pride flags, we can have our Notting Hill Carnival, we can have our Islamic calls to prayer at flipping 7 a.m. in the morning, but if you wave an English flag in an English country, that's a problem. What? I'm going to hold you guys' hand when I say this, but you guys sound very, very stupid. You guys sound very, very silly. And I also need to remind you guys, you have the free will to leave if it's bothering you that much. It's like, what world is this that we're living in where raising the country's flag is a problem?
Exactly. If the UK is such a racist hellhole, with right-wing thugs rampaging round the streets, carrying out casual lynchings, why aren't people leaving? She's absolutely fucking spot on. There are people who come to England just to hate the English and the English culture, but of course they love coming here because they can live on our benefits. And I'll say now, for anyone who doesn't want to live in England because they find it abhorrent and racist, please feel free to leave. I'll shut the door after you've fucking left. Next up, let's hear from someone who's moved to this country from Africa.
And you got the flag, of course. You have to.
There's nothing got to do with racism, nothing. Black Lives Matter. I fight for Black life.
Okay, you fight for Black life. Okay,
and then they've given us that power, and we are free totally. So there's no issue at all. All British want is peace.
As a black woman, do you think Britain has become racist or it's not racist?
It's not racist at all. They didn't become racist or anything, nothing like that.
You've never had racism here. You've always been treated love and respect by the British man, you know? Because we've always been taught that when you come to, as a foreigner, we've been told you must respect the law and the British man's law in it.
Yes, it is that.
Okay.
You can go there, yeah?
Okay.
Follow me on TikTok.
Are you on TikTok?
I absolutely fucking love that. Someone who's moved to this country and is not only contributing, but has assimilated and is now defending the country. Here's the thing, there's never been a problem with good, hard-working immigrants who want to come to this country to contribute and to fit in, to become part of our society, but take on British values. What we have there is someone from another continent who is more patriotic than a professor at a Birmingham University, the current Home Secretary, and a random Londoner. And all three of those were fucking born here. So wherever you're from, if you're from the UK, Ireland, the USA, Europe, wherever, if your way of life is being threatened and your government aren't listening, do little things like this just to piss them off. And if someone has a problem with you, tell them to kindly fuck off. That was a bit of a shouty video. Not many jokes in there. However, if you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you can leave a like, a comment or share the video, that really helps the algorithm. If you would like to support me in making these videos, there are links in the description to buy me a coffee and to my Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching. So now the Labour Party have, as usual, flip-flopped on this, and now Keir Starmer and all his fucking cronies, though why am I talking with my hand so much? Not got a fucking glove puppet. And for all the whinging lefties saying it's divisive, take a look at this. Fuck, I meant to be over here for that bit. So let's kick off with the naysayers, the doom mongers, the it must be divisive, fucking shit. If the stormtroopers do ever get pissed off with me and kick my door in, this will be the picture they'll use. As for India and the Empire, yes, a lot of bad things were done. However, in the grand scheme of things, if we look at she wants to understand it, but hasn't bothered to look into it. Possibly ask the interviewer. Fucking turn off.